Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I just read No Fear by Abnett and it was pretty cool. But I gotta say that after hearing everyone praise this book for years, I found it a little bit less mind-blowing than I initially expected. This book takes place during the Battle of Kolth. For those unaware, Kolth is a planet and part of the Ultramar system, which is a collection of a couple hundred planets under the control of Robiut Guilliman and the Ultramarines. On this planet, the Word-Bearers and the Ultramarines were to muster before sailing off together to kill some orcs. Soon all hell breaks loose, however, as the Word-Bearers start shooting upon the Ultramarines. Guess what? There are no orcs to be defeated. The Word-Bearers just came up with that in order to get closer to the Ultramarines so it would be easier to betray them. Can the Blueberries regroup and organize themselves soon enough to fend off the Choir Boys? That is the story of this book. There are a couple of writing choices here that deviate from the norm. First of all, the book is split into a plethora of smaller sections, which all start with a mark that denotes the time at which they take place. Furthermore, the book frequently switches between a relatively big cast of characters that are spread out all across the planet. This ties into the mark mechanic very well, as we now know when the characters go through certain events relative to the other events that we are reading about. This concept especially shines once the actions of characters start to affect the conditions of other characters, or when we get to see major events from multiple perspectives. The final noteworthy difference is that the majority of this book is written in the present tense, while most other Black Library books instead opt for the past tense. These choices accomplish two things. First of all, they make the book very immersive. It doesn't just feel as if you're following the characters around, but more as if you're seeing the story unfold through their eyes. Especially for a story such as this, where the confusion and chaos caused by the Word-Bearer's betrayal plays such a big role, this works very well. But maybe even more importantly, they do an amazing job at conveying the scale of the battle to you. This is a planet-wide conflict between two entire legions, and this book makes sure that you are aware of that. I also find it very impressive that Abnett managed to do this without sidetracking too much. Guy Haley, for an example, tried to do something similar in The Devastation of Baal, but in that book the big cast and frequent perspective changes form the big distraction from the main storyline. The big difference here is that Abnett focuses more on conveying only the essential information about the characters to you, whereas Haley tried to cram the entirety of the Blood Angel Codex into his novel. Take for an example the Adeptus Mechanicus server. Abnett introduces her a little bit and gives her a little romance subplot to elevate her above being just a throwaway character, and he stops there. That's all we need to know about her, so the story goes on. This way he manages to put a lot of characters into the book without it becoming too crowded. Oh yeah, and this novel also gets a plus point for that scene. There's some conversation between Lorgar and Guilliman in this book, which has become some of the most quoted and memorable passages of 30k writing, and for good reason. It is funny and absolutely badass. Another big plus side of this novel is the overall portrayal of the Ultramarines. The Blueberries are great at planning and almost always manage to stay calm and collected. But on the other side, their trust in their planning capabilities can make them predictable. A problem which Corax also pointed out in the Primarch books, and a weakness that the Word-Bearers are very happy to exploit here. Abnett does an excellent job at showing you both the weaknesses and the strengths of the Ultramarines throughout the story. Because of this, the Ultramarines seem like a very balanced and interesting legion, rather than the OP Marines that our spiritual liege had made them out to be. In other words, this book is somewhat of a redemption of the Ultramarines lore, and therefore it deserves a big plus. So does this mean that this novel is perfect? Well, sadly no. The fact that almost everyone already knows the fate of Guilliman makes it so that much of the tension of the fight scenes is entirely non-existent. On top of this, the ending is pretty mediocre in my opinion. As always, I won't spoiler it, but imagine a lot of plot armor and some very dumb decision making to appear all of a sudden. Regardless, I did still really enjoy this fast-paced and immersive portrayal of the Battle of Kolth. I give this book 5 out of 5 backstabbing traders and definitely recommend it for all Ultramarine fans in the audience. It definitely has some flaws, but the sheer originality of this novel compared to many other Black Library books elevates it to 5 stars for me. Basically, if you're planning on reading some Horus Heresy, then you must include this one on your list. Anyway, that was all I got for you today.
If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and click ringing the bell to appease the Great Horned Rat. For more lore content, please check my main channel and leave any book recommendations in the comments down below. I gotta get back to reading the next book.